going to say it right here.
Look, Andre gets it.
I get it, okay? I get it.
He messed up.
I messed up.
He fired the guy.
I fired everybody, actually. I fired
the sound guy.
Okay? I get it.
He hired Chance.
So what I'm doing is switching up the maps. Actually, it was a collective thing throughout the NASL.
That's true. Rotterdam had a huge voice in that. He really wanted to push her map pool, which was really cool.
And we're changing the maps a little bit. Shattered Temple, not balanced. I shouldn't say not balanced. Yeah, it's not balanced.
Imbalance is the correct term you're thinking of.
Yeah, maybe. But Shattered Temple and then Odyssey just wasn't played enough, and we actually talked to all the pros to make sure that they didn't want Odyssey. We actually had pro input for all these maps to make sure that they didn't want to, or they did. Okay, I'm getting crazy now. They did want a map or didn't want a map. They're just making sure.
And we came down to consensus. We've added maps like Cloud Kingdom and whatnot. And of course, the official announcement will be posted on our website as well as updated information tomorrow. And that's for our playoffs, guys. That's not necessarily for tomorrow's matches of the wildcards, just because we want continuity. But of course, that's our way to adapt. That said, we are on Tal'Darim Malta for game number 4 between BeastyQT and MorroW. Beasty going for CC first, a build that Greetor's been a huge proponent of in TVZ. I like it a lot. Bitter loves it a lot. It might
feel
be his
the
new
strength
favorite
of
build.
it, right?
I feel very strong, but very weak to a Zerg that goes gas pool first.
Yeah, I mean,
for no reason at all.
The actual correct way to do this, if you want to play super standard, is to put a command center right here.
Yeah, and
then wall off, and then put your barracks on the right-hand side, and then you're really, really wall tight. You don't have to worry about any Zergling pressure because, you know, go ahead, kill my command center. It only has 1,500 life. LOL, Zerglings.
Well, if you rush building armor, too.
Exactly, dude.
Then drones and Zerglings will never be able to rush me again.
Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, if I have building armor and a planetary fortress, and you have 0/0 Zerglings, you deal 1 damage. What if I took my command center, 1 command center, okay? When Engineering Bay Rush got building armor and high-sec auto-tracking and did a planetary fortress rush. Look out, 2v2s. That's what I'm doing next time around.
That's what we'll do against Ben and Kevin next time they challenge us.
Just
to a
Ben.
2v2.
We'll have 2
So
command
bad.
centers fly over into his base. He's like, what the heck is this?
A common transition after this build is to go directly for a factory and then just pretty much pressure as normal, but you just have a lot more units in the early game because you have a lot stronger economy than normal. Double orbital early on this fast can be surprisingly powerful. And so you can see Beasty going for the factory, no doubt going to eventually get that reactor as well. It's just something that Beasty's been doing to control the map. And we'll see how MorroW responds. It is Tal'Darim Malta where the rocks do prevent MorroW from taking a fast third, but the rocks armor has been reduced. And so you can take it significantly faster, but as a result, MorroW has to do things like take a gas, like have to stay on 2 base for a while compared to what he's normally used
to. Actually, BC is doing the exact build that I always do. The only difference is
we do, Greetor. But you're the one who originated.
Thanks.
Yeah, he stays on 1 gas. That's the big thing.
Yeah, he stays on 1 gas, and then he powers off of this.
Oh, wait, what is he doing, Greetor? He's putting a 3rd command center. Okay, I got something for Greetor. Like, you can't do 3rd command center with this build. And I'm like, yes, I can. But BC's doing a 3rd command center.
Do you want to go into the theory about why it's bad to do a 3rd command center?
Well,
I'll throw down with you right now for
No, I'm just saying Beasty does this, so I don't feel alone anymore.
Okay.
I'm not the only one in this world.
I would throw down with you so
Beasty
fast.
understands me.
I don't agree with this 3rd command center.
Well, do you agree with it being in the bottom right corner in the middle of nowhere?
No, I don't. It's only going to be minerals.
It's probably like a renegade Terran SCV that doesn't want to colonize with the rest. It's like, you're fired. It's like, fine, I'll make my own colony in the bottom right.
Seriously.
And then all of a sudden it becomes a 3-player game. Like, all of a sudden someone else takes control of the game. Straylock comes out of nowhere and says, I'm not done with NASL just yet. Takes over the bottom right.
So you want to hear why I don't agree with this 3rd command center?
Go ahead.
It's super out of place. It just, for me, it doesn't make sense with the current metagame of ZVT. You know, basically you're going to have these delayed Hellions that come out after doing a CC first. The Hellions really won't get that much done. And do you have any power behind that? No, you don't. So how are you actually going to punish Zerg players for getting a quick 3rd or doing anything, really? You have no way to punish your opponent. The Hellions do absolutely nothing. What they're doing is just taking up room in your factory, and you're in a position where you really can't do anything about it, right? You might as well go siege tanks in this position. That's why I always think like a Marine stim timing follow-up is the best way to actually defend against, or actually not defend, but to progress upon this, because it has the ability to defend against all-ins like this, obviously, a lot better than just the third command center, and at the same time, it can actually do an amazing amount of damage.
Beasty has to worry about a Roach Bane attack coming from MorroW now. What makes it so difficult is Beasty doesn't have high ground really to fall to. Beasty did start with the Watchtower, so he's falling back to his bunkers at this point, but he's only got a couple Marauders left. That one bunker is just for show. Beasty right now is really falling back to a great concave. Beasty can be prepared if he can get great splashes with his Hellions onto those Banes, and a huge part of this punch from the Roach Bane Ling attack will be negated. MorroW getting a little bit indecisive with where his units go, but he does manage to commit to one bunker. But Beasty manages to kite back, and he's repairing one bunker successfully, and it looks like Beasty might be able to hold this Roach Bane attack as long as he can keep this bunker up.
Yep, the SCVs need to repair ASAP. Additional SCVs will be sent, but not in time. The bunker goes down, and additional reinforcements are streaming in. So many SCVs are dying here. A bunch of SCVs, or excuse me, Zerglings are going to go directly into the main. More SCVs are going to die from this. This is an even bigger advantage than what Targa had over Ryung all of those games. This is fantastic control by MorroW and shows really great patience and skill.
Yeah, you mean Lowly.
Lowly, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Targa is not in our wild cards. I would have loved to see Targa with his Hydra Ling rushes with Nidus, but unfortunately that is not the case. MorroW does get cleaned up, and a lot of damage has been done. 27 workers have been killed, but Beasty has stabilized. That's a pretty big factor, and Beasty has triple orbital. I don't want people to forget that, as he has a huge economy compared to that of Zerg.
So here's the thing. I think MorroW actually overestimates his advantage. He's like, wow, I just cleared up every SCV.
You're like, well, I don't see all his SCVs, but there's a huge chunk of them in the bottom right.
There's 8 plus this mule, which is 4.5, so 13.5, and growing SCVs down here. Of course, he has an extra 50% income in the amount of SCVs he actually makes, so that's a really good thing to note as well. I mean, MorroW is actually potentially behind here. I think he's technically ahead, but the problem is the decision making. He actually has a lot less chances of making the proper decisions from here on out. He will play a very scared style, thinking he's super far ahead, but in fact he's way, way behind in that macro.
And it's just so cool from Beasty, because even if MorroW sends like a Ling to the base, he's just going to poke just outside the mineral lines. And so from this point, Beasty will have that economic advantage in terms of just minerals, which is completely okay in terms of getting out units. Now from this point on, Beasty says, okay, well, he's been on 2 base, he poked in, see that he's taking his 3rd. That may just put at this point where Beasty should just sit back, because he realizes he's ahead in economy from that point on.
It's an interesting dynamic what we have right now, because part of the problems of going this type of build, when you go CC first, you lose a lot of relevance very fast after, let's say, 14 minutes, 13 minutes, right around where 1-1 is normally finished. I see 13, 14 to be conservative, but I would actually say 12 minutes normally. Frodan. MorroW went a very delayed 1-1, so that's why we have it 13, 14 minutes. But against all styles, I mean, 1-1 should be done by now. How many engineering bays do we have? 2? But it just got finished at 13 minutes in. That means he won't have his 1-1 equalized until 2 minutes later. That is so substantial. MorroW will have the giant timing of always having relevance with his army, if not the advantage with his army. He needs to make stuff done, but he has a big advantage.
It's dependent on whether or not MorroW can hold this 3rd. You can see Beasty is really trying to control space, and if he can move in to snipe that 3rd, it makes a world of difference. Beasty scans, sees Banelings on top of the high ground, and really needs to be cautious. MorroW has lost vision of his opponent, and now isn't sure where he's going to bounce to and fro. Beasty quickly checks the 4th, but realizes it's not there and says, okay, I'm still in a pretty good spot. And he could outstay his welcome. There's not that many Marines, and mutas are about to pop. But if Beasty can head at an appropriate time, anything can happen.
And the Blue Flame Hellions are going to get in directly. Now these Banelings don't have speed yet. It's still a couple of seconds away, but the Zerglings trying to surround. The Blue Flame Hellions will not two-shot all of these Zerglings because they have that +1 armor over the non-+1 vehicular weapons. And it looks like BeastyQT will be stopped in his tracks. But, oh, a big drop going into the natural. There's a Spinecrawler to deflect it a little bit. Another Spinecrawler is going to get in here. Great transfuse to buy additional time.
But even he's transfusing a drone.
Wow. Yeah, really nice. BeastyQT did the right decision at actually taking out the drones. But look at that. Muta is going to show up on the bottom side of MorroW's base and clean everything up. Very nicely done by MorroW. He pulls ahead even more.
Now, in the mind of MorroW, he says, okay, well, Terran's on 2 base. He has the Overlord and the Zerglings in position saying, well, I don't see, Beasty really moving out. In fact, if he ever pokes in, he looks like Beasty's taking his 3rd base at a pretty delayed time. But again, Beasty has been able to really capitalize on this 4th base, which is surprisingly mining out quick. And MorroW, if he's not really careful, he's going to let the economic advantage slip between his grasp because he doesn't really have that forward base economy yet. His hive tech has been severely delayed, and MorroW really needs to scout something soon, or at least get up his economy a lot stronger than what it is now. It's at 64 drones, and that's not going to do for 60
It's interesting. It's because, like, okay, so now is a big timing where Beasty's units are a lot more relevant now that the upgrades are evened up. But it's still interesting to me because I feel like the positioning of the units for MorroW is superior. It makes it really difficult for Beasty to actually claim his 3rd base. And even if he does, I mean, look at what MorroW's doing, taking his 4th base. The trades, units lost, is pretty similar, but BeastyQT really won't have this 3rd base efficiently for too long. Pretty soon it will be, I don't know, revealed or something like that, or he's going to just mine out completely.
Ooh, a Zergling is on the paths. Oh, it's going to patrol, but just like I said, he's going to be right outside the minerals, and MorroW might or might not see it.
It's going to be tough. I don't think he's going to see it. Frodo! Oh! There was a small glance, but I highly doubt he was paying attention over there.
No, man, that is so... What was I saying, man? If he pokes just inside the middle line, he would have not seen it. A very clever ruse from Beasty. And now that center towers have been so valuable if you just place them at a great location, and Beasty will be able to make sure any kind of mutas or Zerglings going for a counterattack, he'd be able to get in position for it. Beasty's now pushing across the left-hand side. No. MorroW has to be really cautious with this because any potential lethal timing could just be the end of his NASL run. MorroW is going to make a lot of banelings and wait for this, but his creep spread is not even the best at this point because of the amount of pressure Beasty's been able to push. And the banelings are not prepared yet. Beasty has a great time to hit all these banelings, and that's a very valuable asset to the Zerg army.
And here he's just going to protect the banelings ever so slightly. Well done, and going to go on to this top now. He has to be careful. Wow, there's a lot of potential problems for Beasty in this position. Great split, though. That's what you want to do, a preemptive split. Make sure that your Marines aren't going to just get absolutely decimated. Mutas are going to pick off a couple here.
This is
wow, this is like razor thin, Frodan.
He picks off the macro hatchery, which means Beasty has a big opening to the natural. He's now splitting his army. MorroW's losing a lot of his production. You can see the drones are dying at the natural. This is a critical moment for MorroW as he has no more room left for error, as he needs to engage perfectly at this point. Needs to get rid of the army. Here we go. This is the last stand for MorroW. He needs to be able to take out this army immediately. Does manage to deal with everything outside of his base, but the natural suffered heavy losses. And the big story is that MorroW has not really been able to get up his economy comfortably this entire game. Beasty with a fantastic attack. And now the natural is no longer mining, a huge source of gas income for MorroW.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And this 2nd base probably will stay up, so it's really nice for MorroW. I think MorroW actually, oh, it's so hard to actually tell, Frodan. I wanted to say he's ahead because he holds that
It's tough because of that base.
Not only that base, the 3-3 now. So it's kind of like, okay, well, now BeastyQT will have a lot of relevance. But I think it's tough. MorroW has, I think, the composition advantage, especially with his ability to clean up medevacs really cost efficiently. That's the thing when you're doing this Marine King style and you're only going for what is, medevacs, Marines, and Marauders. You need to make sure. Okay, this is actually going to solidify his loss right now.
MorroW's losing so many units. That's too much damage to suffer. Because he just committed a lot of his units over at the planetary fortress. He could have exploded his banelings on the SCVs, but it went straight into the building instead. Just a couple of seconds of missed micro and cost MorroW a lot of supply.
That wasn't just the supply. Frodan, I think that was the game. He just lost the game because of that commitment. MorroW was not far enough ahead to actually make a move like that, even if he takes down the Planetary Fortress, which does not have +2 building armor. He's still in a terrible position because it's just way too much commitment. And now he's going to run into the natural. I don't see a foreseeable way for him to actually stop this. MorroW
doesn't have creep.
MorroW
He doesn't really have mutas in position. The third is under siege. No, he's going to go straight for the fourth, realizing that's a huge source of economy. If MorroW loses this base,
this is his NASL Season 3 line, or neck on the line, excuse me. And the Marauders are perfectly positioned. How can MorroW actually approach this base? The fourth base is going to be taken out. It doesn't matter what BeastyQT does from here, as he already got the money attack.
And BC is splitting perfectly. Oh, look at the base. They can't get to any direction. BeastyQT with a perfect engagement, preparing for his opponent. Now all the Zerglings come in, but the Blue Flame Hellions and Marines deal with everything. MorroW has no more options left. Falling below triple-digit supplies. GG! Empire, BeastyQT takes game number 4 and advances to the NASL playoffs, where he'll play
winner,
for his
man.
spot.
The open winners have always done so fantastic here at the NASL. You know, first we had Puma, then Thorze, now BeastyQT. Smash and FaZe taking names. He will advance on into the playoffs, where he has his chance to be in the NASL Season 3 finals. Congratulations to him. He played a fantastic game. Man, that command center is so sneaky, but you can see what I'm talking about. The upgrades. Dude, so the upgrades, right?
Oh, that third command center is so bad. BeastyQT takes the series 3-1.
Okay. Not
bad. Actually, you know, it's so funny. If you get to know BeastyQT, he's the one who says not bad like every other sentence or not. And I'm like wondering, was Rotterdam the first one to really teach Beasty not bad? Or did Beasty teach Rotterdam not bad? I'm like, which came first, the BeastyQT or the Rotterdam? And I'm like, we'll think about this all during the break while we thank our sponsor of that match, GameMiner, the smartphone application that lets you know about upcoming games and demos. Download it at the App Store. We're back with our final series of the day, Andre.
Oh, baby.
Our final series of the day is not bad as well.
Not
Galaxy
bad.
versus House of Ops.
Oh.
It's going to be great. It's going to be
wait.
fantastic. PVZ to wrap things off. We've had a TVZ, we've had a TVP, but we're going to wrap things up with the full circle of matchups. Don't go anywhere. This is the NASL Thursday Wildcards. We'll be back in just a few.